I forgot how comfortable this actually feels. Is this too close? You hear me more if I sit here. Are we too close? Is this too close? Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel on my Peace Corps Thailand experience. Grab your coffee, grab your tea, because this might be a longer video, so cozy up, and I'm going to tell you why I joined the Peace Corps. I've wanted to do this video for a long time, and I kept putting it off. It's going to be very personal, so I have notes here, so forgive me if I look down at them every now and then. Let's get into it. I guess we could start with saying that I'm Brazilian American. I was the dog hunter of this video. I grew up in New York. I was born in Brazil to two Brazilian parents. We moved to America when I was a kid. Oh my god. I'm so sorry. And I grew up most of my life in New York. This will become relevant later. After I graduated, I moved back with my family in New York City, and I was in the job search, and if you know about the job search in New York, it's pretty tough. I knew I heard about Peace Corps in college, but I don't recall what was that moment when I first started considering it. I just kind of started going to the website, but I was also applying to so many different kinds of jobs at the time. It wasn't this thing that I wanted to do since I was a kid, a lot of people I know, or a lot of people are oh yeah, I've wanted to do it since high school, since college. It wasn't anything like that. It was on my radar, but not really. And then one day it hit me. I was wow, I'm really looking at this a lot. Am I interested in this? And I was reading a lot about it, and I was watching a lot of videos. And part of the reason why I started my YouTube channel for Peace Corps Thailand was because a lot of the videos I watched, it played a part in my decision to serve in the Peace Corps. Shout out to Aaron Food the Coop. I loved your Peace Corps Thailand videos. They were very honest and informative. I know that YouTube channel doesn't exist anymore, but yeah, if you're watching this, Erin, you're awesome. Her videos were really cool. If they were still up, I'd still rewatch them. So the big story is, there was this one video I watched from a Peace Corps Mongolia volunteer. She had already completed her service, and she made this video on her last day in Mongolia, and it was so simple and so humble and quiet and reflective. It really touched my heart, and I started crying. And I'm not really the kind of person that cries very easily. I'm not the kind that cries very easily in movies or shows or any of that. And it kind of just broke me, but not in a sad way, but in a kind of a moving kind of way. And I don't know if I've said this in my my channel before, but I'm a Christian, and I really believe that I felt God talking to me in that moment and calling me to join the Peace Corps, and just telling me that I want to humble you. And I was just sitting there crying. I was okay, if you want me to do this, then alright. I kept applying to jobs, but I made that decision that day that I'm applying to Peace Corps. And I didn't even know what program yet. So I met with a recruiter. She had me just draft up a resume of stuff I've done in college and in high school. And it turned out that most of everything that was on there was very relevant to youth and development. I hadn't intentionally done that, but that was just what I was drawn to. I've always felt very connected to kids. I did camp counseling, I did tutoring, I was in a mentorship program in high school, I did a peer-to-peer program as part of one class in college. I studied abroad twice. I went to Turkey and I went to Italy, and I interned at nonprofits in both of those. And so she told me, you have a very strong resume for youth and development. So she helped me, set that up correctly, because, for Peace Corps it's a little different. Maybe I'll make another video about tips for applying, because it's different than applying for a job. She was well, right now there's only openings for youth and development in Thailand and Armenia. I was oh, Thailand. Obviously Thailand. I applied, and it's a long process, and before I heard back from Peace Corps, I got my dream job in video. So in the interim, right, I was living at home, applying to jobs. I was doing freelance gigs with film on the side, because my friend worked in film and hooked me up with them. But I wasn't getting paid. I was just getting the experience. Started translating for my church. I was doing dog walking, and then the translating experience plus the video experience I was learning with my friend matched really well, because I landed a Portuguese language video editing internship at Insider. So Insider, if you don't know, is a lifestyle branch of Business Insider, and Business Insider is the parent company. And it's an amazing place to work. I want to go back to work for them after my Peace Corps service ends. It's like the kind of internship where you actually got to do like meaningful work and it was paid. And my specific role was picking out the ones that would be like interesting for a Brazilian audience and translating them to Portuguese, and also pitching original content. And if it got approved, I could go out with another person to shoot it and then help edit it. Then I also got to pitch original content to other channels of Insider. So I was having like a great time like at Insider, and I don't think that like anything else would have been able to like take me away from Insider if it wasn't like God, you know, like that was like the only thing that could take me away. God, this was so important to me. Like I really needed like really strong confirmation to leave a dream job, you know? And so God confirmed it to me 3 times before I even got my acceptance email. So the first time was when I was watching that video, and I felt my heart being touched and felt God speaking to me. The second time was at a conference called Rain at my friend's church in Danbury, Connecticut. It was like this 3-day conference. The people leading the conference were from Christ for the Nations in Texas, I believe. And one of the worship leaders like walked up to me and he was like, "Hey, God's telling me to tell you that he wants to use you with children." And she said in her prayer, God is telling someone today that you have this opportunity and to take it, and to not just settle for a job, and to not just settle for money. And that again touched my heart again, because I knew I had this option of like, if I could stay here and do this internship and potentially get go full time, or I could obey God and go to the Peace Corps. The conference that I was at in Connecticut, it was at my friend's church, and their church has been supporting a missionary in Thailand for years. This confirmation happened at precisely the church that is already supporting a missionary in Thailand. So that was like another like layer of like God like really clearly confirming not only Peace Corps, but confirming Thailand for me and confirming the youth for me. And then about like what, a month later maybe, I had like finished my day at my internship. At the time the office was in the Flatiron district. I just remember walking down at like that, I don't know if you guys know where like the famous Flatiron building is. It's kind of like in a weird like semicircle shape. Before I crossed the street, I just thought to check my email one more time, which is weird because I check my email all the time at work. But I checked it when I got out of work, and lo and behold, there was like my invitation to be a Peace Corps volunteer, and I had 3 days to answer, and I answered like on the same first day. So, and then it felt very warm, and it was just felt like super, super right. And yeah, I was really happy. But I didn't tell my job right away, because a lot of people just don't get cleared legally, they don't get cleared medically, and legal clearance took me a long time, again, because like I am a citizen, but I wasn't born here. I wasn't born in America. Obviously I wasn't born in Thailand. Even though like that was like the first thing that I sent paperwork out on, it took me the longest to get legally cleared. So I didn't get legally and medically cleared completely until November. And so keep in mind that like you depart for Thailand in January. When I was finally legally and medically cleared, then I brought it up to like my bosses at Insider, and they were surprisingly super cool about it. And like it makes sense, because Insider's motto is life is an adventure, and they love people to like go out and try these things. And so they told me to like keep in touch, and if I get back and there's job openings, that they would take me full time. I had made my decision, but like I was having a lot of trouble at home because my parents were really my dad especially was like really against it. So this is where the Brazilian background comes in. Because we immigrated to America when I was like a baby. I was 3 years old, but we visit Brazil, not now as much because money's tight, but like we used to visit every year. All of my family's there. If you think that the American dream is already like a lot of pressure, just double that for like an immigrant's kid who like left everything for America and wants the best for you. As I got further into my internship, they were hinting they were gonna take me full time, and my dad was still in my ear of like, you shouldn't be like going away, you're gonna be wasting your time in Thailand. And he had genuine worries as well. He didn't like fully believe that like God was calling me. Context, on top of that, he's my pastor in addition to being my dad. And so for the first time in my life, what God was telling me wasn't matching what my dad was telling me. There's like a conflict there, like that's never happened. And I have to like really trust, like, no, I know the voice of God. Obviously there's a variety of reasons why people join. I didn't join for the money. I tell you that right now, it's not for the money. I did not join because of grad school, because if I go to grad school, it's going to be film school, because I want to be a director someday. So it's not, and film schools don't take Peace Corps Coverdell fellowships. I also didn't join because of like, oh, I don't know what to do next with my life, which like, if that's you, that's fine. But that was also not my reason. Like, I had a dream job. I could have stayed. I also didn't join, again, for career reasons, because I'm not going into government after this. So one was basically, like, because I wanted to obey God, and I felt very strongly that he was telling me that he wanted to humble me. And then number two was, like, when I found out I could work directly with youth, that my experience matched youth and development. That was very meaningful to me. Like, I would love to have, like, a direct impact on youth. I think after coming to Thailand and like going through PST training and like meeting the actual youth at my site, that reason has grown even stronger in my heart, because now I know the youth that I'm affecting and I have a better grasp on like the work I'm doing now. I try to remind myself of that when things get hard, that I'm here to be stretched. Like, if it feels hard, that's why I came. I came to be challenged. I came to be stretched and to have an impact on the youth. Yeah, so my dad gave me a hard time for a while. My mom was surprisingly calm about it. It was almost strange. My dad was like the last one to be cool about it. It wasn't until like a sermon in like November, actually. It was our friend's church that he was guest preaching at. It was like towards the end of the sermon where he started talking about, you know, me going to Thailand. I don't know if you guys know any PKs. Shout out to the PKs out there, pastors' kids. But one of the things we have to deal with being a pastor's kid is that your dad talking about you in the sermon, no matter if you're a kid, a teenager, or at the time I was 23 years old, and he was like talking about me to a group of strangers. But yeah, and I thought he was going to complain about it, and then it's so interesting, instead of like letting me know before the sermon that he was okay with me going to Thailand, he decided to let me know in the sermon. And so in the sermon he's saying like, you know, and I don't want her to go. And then he started talking about like his prayer with God, and he was saying like, you know, and I was so worried about her that I couldn't hear God tell me, calm your heart, I'm in control of that. And so that was his way of saying that he was supportive of me going to Thailand. I mean, I was going to go anyways, but it's nice to have your family support, you know. And after the sermon, I met this dude from that church who had also spent some time in Thailand as a missionary for like 6 months, and he was telling me about it. One thing that he said that really stuck with me is that he said, you know, that place is like, at least for me, it's where I've most powerfully felt the love of God. And so I think God really used him as like a word of encouragement to me, on top to follow up like my dad finally saying like, hey, I support you. And I thought back to that, like, to that sermon that my dad did, and how he said that God said, calm your heart. And I didn't know this at the time, but like, after coming to Thailand, I found out that calm your heart is one of the most popular Thai expressions here. It's Jai Yen Yen. Jai means heart, and Yen Yen means like cool, like cool your heart, calm down your heart. And it's associated with like this whole lifestyle of like not letting your emotions get the best of you, not showing too much anger, to kind of like live your life no matter what, calm and collected. And that's like huge in Thai culture. You hear Jai Yen Yen, calm your heart, all the time. It's not the same connotation as calm down in America. It's more just like, hey, relax. And so the fact that God chose that, He knows where I'm going. He knows the challenges. He knows the wonderful moments. Like, He's the God that knows all, and He's got me. I'm not a missionary. I know this wasn't like with bad intentions, but a lot of people are like, well, you're not just going for Peace Corps, God's going to make you a missionary. As if like that was the only way that God could use you. I didn't tell them, but it's like you're kind of like undermining like what I'm going to be doing in Peace Corps. Like, I'm not a missionary, but I'm still doing good work here. I'm still loving on these kids, connecting to them. I'm in youth and development, which is all about creating projects and camps and clubs that touch on different aspects of these kids' lives and like helps them think a little bit more about like what they can accomplish and to go a little bit further. Like, it's all about empowerment of the youth. And I think Yindi is very special for that, And I'm making a video very soon all about youth and development, so I'm going to delve deeper into what I do in that video. But basically, like, I am still doing God's work by being a Yindi volunteer. There's not just like one road that God uses. Regardless of like what I get done and what I don't get done before the end of my service, like, you never know the impact that you have on a person's life. I just think we measure success a little bit differently in Peace Corps, because 2 years in the long run isn't that long, and it's grassroots level work and it's development work, and that's hard, and you're navigating culture and language. But I'm very proud of what I have accomplished, and I think I can accomplish more. But at the end of the day, I feel very blessed and I feel very grateful, and yeah, I'm in a good place. It's really cool to like look back on it now. Right now I'm in my 19th month, so it's been sometimes a challenge to be present. I'm like on and off. Like, some days I'm super present, some days I'm not so much, because it just feels like it's so little time before I go home, even though it's over half a year left over. But when you've been here for like 21 months, 7 months looks like nothing, but I really am like trying to be present and like do as much good work as I can in my time left here. But it is such a special thing to look back on why I came here, and to just know that like I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be, and I'm exactly where God wants me to be. Like, that's such a special thing. Like, if I can have that and that kind of direction, that kind of clarity in like the rest of my life, I'm gonna be fine. So the youth and development bit actually might come out right after this video. I plan on doing a youth and development Q&A next week after this video goes up. So if you have any questions about youth and development, message me on my Instagram. It's in my description and YouTube. Or like send me an email, which is also in the description, but it's larissalimedel@gmail.com. And then my Instagram is Lala_land989. Feel free to send me all your questions about youth and development. Like, don't hold back. I'm going to throw it on a video. If one video is not enough, I'll make a part 2. If you watched up until this point, thank you. How many times have I spilled my coffee? No. Thank you. God bless you. And for listening to my story, I think that's it. Bye. Love you. What kind of outro should I do? Because I've dabbled here and there. Maybe just like, I like that. I'm going to do that. Okay. Bye. I love you.